All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Talk 122 with your superintendent. I'm Dr. Terrell Yarbrough, and I have with me, I think for the first time ever, we're going to try to do this as a threesome, right? I think we had the bowling team on earlier this year, and we did kind of like two students at a time. So
Okay.
this is pretty, monumental here. So if you could all, one at a time, introduce yourself to the audience, your role in the district, or in somebody's case, left us. But anyway, no, nothing. But you still were here. So if you can introduce yourself, what school you are at, and we can go from there.
All right. I'm Julie Crawford. I teach 6th grade at Loves Park Elementary.
Okay.
I am Andrea Cox, and I teach 6th and 7th grade now at WillowBrook Middle School, but was previously 6th grade at Loves Park.
Okay.
And I'm Shannon Davidson, and I co-teach with Julie, and I'm a special education teacher.
Okay. Well, welcome to all three of you.
Thank you.
And welcome back.
Thanks.
obviously.
It's
And
exciting
so-
to be back.
Yeah, and this is good, and I'm excited for this particular one because this is our Alaska edition as we talk about PD, right? Like professional development for teachers, and I think obviously that's an important part of what we do. Obviously investing in you all who obviously in turn invest in our kids, and which is phenomenal. And so as we're kicking this off a little bit, Alaska, right? Normally you think of PD, whether it's in the district or within a 25, 50 mile radius, but no.
Yeah.
So if one of you want to
No.
start with talking about just how the idea came about of actually going to Alaska.
Oh.
Julie, you were the first one to kind of come up with the
Yeah.
idea, I think.
So about a decade ago, I got kind of obsessed with the Iditarod. My daughter was learning about it in her 1st grade classroom.
Okay.
And I started going, well, what is this thing, the Iditarod? And learned more about it, and then brought it back to school with me. And then I met Andrea, and Andrea quickly caught the bug as well.
We were co-teaching 4th grade together
Okay.
at this time. So Julie kind of came and she's like, do you know anything about the Iditarod? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. No. So she's like, I think we should do a reading unit on it. I'm like, sounds good to me. Yeah, just tell me what we need to do. So she kind of led the way for our first year, and I dove in pretty hard after that, and we ended up creating together for our classroom a 6-week long-ish
Yeah.
cross-curricular unit.
Okay.
Lisa Clark gave us the go-ahead to, expand our horizons as much as we wanted to, as long as we were teaching what we needed to. And
Okay.
then when I went into a regular ed position, Shannon came in and kind of took over my role as a co-teacher with Julie, and
Yeah, and I had no idea what the Iditarod was when this all started as well, and I was so energized by their excitement of it all. They project that onto the students and onto me, and I am not a cold weather girl. I'm all about the beach. I don't like snow in winter, and I was hooked. So, and it's really exciting to see how the kids really grab onto it, and they are as knowledgeable as we are by the time our unit is over, and they really love it.
Okay.
So
Well, the funny thing is, believe it or not, and that was a great intro, but I still don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So if you can tell me
we
what
would
it
love
is.
to tell you.
So what is it?
You want to go?
So the Iditarod is a 1,000-mile dog sled race over the course of less than 2 weeks.
It's down under 2 weeks that
Yeah.
they get a winner at this point.
I'm even more excited about this now.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So
All right.
it goes across Alaska, and they have, I want to say, like 20 some checkpoints where they stop.
Okay.
And it has been a very long, grueling race for many of them, but they've made it shorter and shorter every year.
Okay.
So I think it's down to like 8 days to run 1,000 miles.
Okay.
Across not you know, most of Alaska, as we learned more about when we were there, is not inhabited. Like, there are not people living in most of the places. When you follow the race, a lot of the checkpoints are ghost towns, so no one actually lives there.
Okay.
And they have made this race to the point that they can set up cameras, technology, do podcasts, do journalism from these very remote locations. And
Okay.
that was a super interesting part that we learned about
Right.
last year, how they
Wow.
pack all this stuff up and take it to these extremely remote places and bring live coverage of the race to us.
Okay. All right. That's so exciting. So tell me this then. So in the lead up to it, because you mentioned students, right, and they were getting excited about it and things like that. So what did you do in the lead up before you left to kind of get the kids ready for, hey, we're going to go on this trip, and then we're going to come back with all this information. Be ready for it. Like, what did you do for the lead up?
Well, you know, we got a little bit bogged down in the last couple of years with COVID teaching. Hasn't been extremely fun, but at least in my role, I know Iditarod kind of pulled me through, quite honestly.
Okay.
Allowed me to do some fun things. And so last fall, I think it was around October, I messaged both of them after I had seen the post for the conference, and I was like, you guys, I think I'm going to do this. Like, if I want you guys to come with me, but think I'm going to for sure do it.
Okay.
And we worked it out that they could get the time off, I could get the time off, approved through both of our districts, so we purchased our plane tickets, and then we could finally kind of get, I think, our kids excited for us in
Okay.
both situations.
Perfect. So what were some of the questions, if you can remember, that the kids had about it?
Well, same as you. What is the
Yeah.
Iditarod?
Yeah. What is it? Why are you going to Alaska?
Yeah, like,
Right.
why would you choose to do that?
Right. Out of all places, right?
Isn't it
In
so
the middle
cold?
of winter. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that they had questions too about just like, why is this so exciting?
Mhm.
In a world of technology where everything is just fast paced and
Great point.
Fortnite and everything that is computer based,
Mhm.
why would you choose to go watch people race a dog sled?
Mhm.
So there were those questions as
Okay.
well.
Okay. So now you're let's fast forward, you're there. Right?
We are there.
So
Yeah, we are starstruck.
Yeah, we're freaking out.
Yes.
as teachers often do, you did all your research, you prepared for it, right? Yeah, you're there now. What were some of the things that you?
I don't have an answer for that.
Oh,
Is there something else I
Siri.
can
You know what? This is live, and my watch kind of goes crazy sometimes. So anyway,
That's okay.
so when you like think of like things that you thought about, like was there myths, right? Like right away you're like, you know what? That's not anywhere what I thought. Like I think of Alaska, I automatically think it's going to be cold, like really cold.
No, it was.
Right. So it was cold.
Oh, yeah.
It was
No,
actually
that's not a myth.
That's
Yeah.
not a myth. Okay.
It's about around that time of year, like the same temperatures here, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But different because it's covered in snow, whereas here it's like hit or miss if we have snow.
Mhm.
The day of the race, everyone, even people that have been there for the race start not hundreds of times, dozens of times. It snowed all day. From the second we
Yeah.
got downtown that morning, the snow started, and it was just a snow that was like big, fluffy flakes. Magical. And it was coming down, almost it seemed like it was like pouring rain, like it was so much snow coming down, and everyone was just like, perfect. Like, that couldn't be more perfect,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
I think because we've been teaching it for so long, we knew kind of a lot of what to expect.
Mhm.
But I think there were some overarching and our misconceptions within sled dog racing. There's a lot of controversy about it being inhumane. And we went to the vet checks before the race starts. They have every dog checked, approved by the vet. They have to make sure they're healthy before they'll even put them on the trail. And that, for me, was kind of eye-opening. Like, okay, they're actually concerned about the well-being and the health of these dogs, probably more so than even the people. So I think those kinds of misconceptions were made more aware for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a morning we were like getting ready, and the commercials that come on TV there at that time of year are interesting.
Okay.
And so just taking that piece of like how the media structures things. So we had been to a dog kennel the day before as part of the conference, and we were like, these dogs were so happy.
Okay.
They were, you know, the ones that were on their chains out in the dog yard were laying and basking in the sun, and they were excited to see us, let us kneel down and pet them. They're so nice and friendly for the most part. And a lot of them are actually off chain, running around, you know, and they switch off who gets to run around and for how long throughout the day.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
so
how
they're
many
free.
dogs? How many dogs are part of it?
There's probably
So there are about 14 to 16 dogs that are on each sled, but each musher usually has a couple teams in their kennel.
Yeah, I'd say the kennel we went to, which was Matt Failer's, he probably had 50 or 60 dogs
Wow.
out there. But yeah, it was just interesting because then the next morning we see the TV and PETA's got a commercial on where they've taken the tone to black and white. They've got this really sad, horrible music playing, and they've got an image of a dog chained up in the dog yard that's just sitting there.
Okay.
But because it's sitting there with the sad music playing in the black and white tone, you know, their message is, this is inhumane, whereas we saw it with our own eyes the day before. Those dogs were so happy and so well taken care of.
Okay.
Cleaner than your house dog, you
Okay.
know.
So you had mentioned a little bit about, and you talked about it too, like the controversy. So can you touch on that just a little bit more? Like when you were there, you know, you mentioned the ads and things like that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, PETA's presence was definitely known in Anchorage that weekend or that week. I think that the Iditarod does a really good job of trying to put the kibosh on all of that and, you know, educate people on what, you know, the reality of it is. At any time during the race, a musher can make a decision to drop, what they call it, drop a dog, where they, at different checkpoints, can hand off their dog to their handlers, and they continue on. It's I don't know if it's ever even happened where a musher has completed the race with their full team. You know, if a dog is not performing, they'll just leave them at the checkpoint and send them back to the kennel. So I felt like a little better about all of that kind of controversy with everything. I feel like the Iditarod does a really great job of inclusivity too, and I know for me personally, I felt a connection with that with all of our students. You know, you look at it and you go, here's, you know, this male dominant sport, and that is a huge misconception as well. You know, and our students all pick a musher that they kind of follow throughout the race. And, you know, we have women, we have minorities, we have transgender mushers. There was a musher from Jamaica one time who had never seen snow, but he decided he was going to mush. Our adopted musher, our adopted musher, that Gerhardt, he is from Africa.
South Africa.
And
First
he,
musher from
and
South Africa.
he traveled to Alaska, and he is running in the Iditarod. So
Okay.
pretty cool how it's, you know.
No, this is great for me because one, I never knew it existed.
Yeah.
But two, it seems like there's so much that goes into, you know, putting this on, right? And so many people get to enjoy it. And so you mentioned that the kids kind of follow the race and pick
Absolutely.
that. So
Yep.
was it live for them? Do you know that, like, did they tune in at the time? Like, how did that work?
We do have an insider subscription that we purchase every year, so we can get GPS
Because we also watched it at
tracking. We're kind of obsessed.
You watch it at home?
Oh yeah, like
But
the whole
very
time.
often, and with the time change as well, but very often they run at night
Okay.
because it's cooler for the dogs. And that's another misconception. You know, most people think, oh, it's too cold at night for these dogs, but they do a lot of their running at night. So we would go in every morning before, you know, when school would start, and the first thing we do is, okay, we got to check, like, who's in the lead and who's had to scratch or, you know, withdraw. And so it just became part of our, like, morning routine that, you know, our kids wanted to know, where's my musher at? And they get really, really excited about following that person and learning more about them. They do biographies on them and
Awesome.
things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if each one of you could take a turn, with this piece, because this is really interesting to me now. Now I'm like, I'm going to get deeper.
You're
if
going
you
to be
can-
following the race this year, I guarantee
I might. And so when you think about now that whole like making it relevant for kids, right? Like what we teach and making it relevant to real world experiences. How does this translate for you, right? Bringing, actually going on the trip, your kids, getting excited about it, you experiencing it, now bringing it back to them. Like, how did that resonate for you?
I think that there are amazing character education pieces that I picked up this time. I mean, I've been teaching this for a long time, and we've done everything. We've incorporated social studies and science and math, but the character education of having integrity, having perseverance, finding your own personal
Being
strength.
innovative.
Yes, being innovative, resilient, just everything that you would want a kid to be can come out of that.
Okay.
So that's the piece that I really took away this time.
Okay. Thank you.
I think for me, teaching, like I've had a few different teaching experiences with this now, starting in 4th grade where I taught all subject levels, and now I teach Iditarod in my 7th grade literature classes. So I'm only getting the reading piece of it to bring to kids. So I usually utilize Gary Paulson's book Wood Song, and kids love Gary Paulson, number one. Hatchet, you bring Hatchet in, they love it. So bringing in, it's more of his autobiography, a kid's version of his autobiography, because he actually ran in the Iditarod.
Wow.
And so Wood Song covers his whole race experience. And I have a lot of students in my district now that are super into fishing. They grow up on farms. They've got, they're out in the middle of the country, a lot of them. And so bringing the outdoors into the classroom is super relevant for a lot of my boys especially.
Okay.
Not to take away from the girls, but definitely for my boys. And the fact that it's a winter thing to get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also brought in, and I know Julie has in her classroom in the past as well, like the idea that these guys are racing to win $50,000.
Okay.
If that.
And you
Okay.
think about what our pro athletes are making on
Yeah.
a basketball team, on the NBA or NFL, and you start making those comparisons for them in comparison to what these guys are doing out in the wilderness, to what, how they're living, just playing football, not taking away from that, but it's just a whole different thing. And they start going, they would do that for $50,000, yeah.
And they don't get a salary.
No,
Okay.
They don't
it
get
actually
paid
costs
to do
them
this.
more.
Yeah, I like how you both just interjected with that piece, because for me it's more about the passion, right? Like the money, fine, you get something, but it's about the passion. You really enjoy doing this, and so yeah, I like that.
Absolutely. Kind of what you talked about, my concern was as well, like how are kids in Loves Park in Machesney Park, Illinois going to relate or care about something that's happening so far removed from their everyday lives? How do we make this relatable for them? But I agree with Julie on a lot of it, like the character education and the, I do see kids say, hey, these are twin sisters that are racing, and I'm a twin, or they find their own relatability with these mushers and with the race, and again with like the perseverance and the resiliency. I think it teaches them. We've showed them videos where our own Adopt a Musher had to withdraw out of the race last year because he had a massive snowstorm that he ended up with a broken ankle. There was another musher with him that broke her collarbone.
And they were like
So
less than
it's-
100 miles from the finish line.
70
Right.
miles.
So it's literally, if you fall down, you have to get back up, and you have to, work hard for this. And I think it does reflect in our students and their work habits and their, their
Awesome. Well, I definitely need to check this out because now because I don't know why I have in my mind, and I'm dating myself now, like the movie Cool Runnings. I don't know if you ever saw that, like, and I'm just thinking about that, but I know it's different, right? It's totally different. So I can't wait to look at something like that. And so now a little bit of fun. Right, if you don't mind, couple questions here to have fun with you. Yeah. So in your mind, go back to the place, right, to the scene and what you saw, and you said it with the snowflakes and all of those things, and when you remember your kids are going to see this, right? So what song comes to your mind when that would kind of wrap up, this is that race, right? This is what I saw, this is what I experienced. What song? And hopefully the kids will know it. But if anything, they will learn something about you all. So either one. What
I feel like you're such a good one with the song.
Maybe U2, Beautiful Day.
Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful Day.
I know that one.
Or Perfect Day.
Okay.
There's one too.
I feel like I made a couple of TikToks when we got back, and so looking for songs to put with my videos, I chose Zach Brown Band's Free.
Okay.
And then we learned a lot about some Iditarod songs, and so I chose a song called Reddington's Run.
Oh yeah. Hobo Jim.
By
Check him
Hobo
out.
Jim, who had passed away, so they were honoring him last year. He was a big
Okay.
country musician that had some Iditarod specific songs. So
I have to admit, I have to look that song up. But
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm with
I
you.
would have
We
to
did
as
too.
well.
We did too.
okay. What about you?
When I think back to that day that the race started, and like Andrea said, the snow coming down was massive. I actually have a picture where I have my hood on and I have this much snow stacked on top of my head. So I guess my song would have to be Umbrella because I was kind of wishing I
By
had
Rihanna?
one. Rihanna. I
funny.
needed to be under an
I didn't see
umbrella.
that coming. I didn't see that coming.
Ella.
That is awesome.
That's funny. You know, we also participated in the running of the reindeer while we were there.
Yeah. Like
No.
There is
No
a running
idea.
of the reindeer, which is similar to the running of the bulls,
Yes.
Okay. So
but you actually run
We ran.
away
Yes,
from reindeer.
You run. They release male reindeer.
and they're chasing you.
And they
And
chase
they're
you down
not
the street.
nice. They're annoyed. You can see them being annoyed.
Yeah. We don't get along right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, one not too long ago hit our car just
Oh,
out of nowhere.
no.
Yeah.
So I can imagine them coming at you
Yeah,
like
it's,
that. 'Cause
it's
they don't
quite
stop.
a time.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
No.
Okay.
So you have to run.
It was quite an experience.
All right, and then for teachers, like other teachers, right, who are not necessarily familiar with this, but obviously every teacher loves PD and things like that. What would you say would be a reason for them to maybe even look into this, right, or something similar to this, right, where you can go and there's some real world experiences and you can bring it back to the kids? What would you say to other teachers?
What's that start with that?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know.
I just was thinking, Iditarodedu is a website that they have created that has a ton of resources for teachers and educators. The stuff that we learned at the conference was geared towards, lesson plans and things that we could take back to our classroom and things that we could do to incorporate all of that. There is a huge following of teachers within the Iditarod network that produce some great things. And I second with Andrea, when you hit February and March as a teacher, you kind of get that slump of, okay, we've been doing the same thing all year. It's fresh, it's new, it's exciting. And I think it rejuvenates our kids as well. So
Okay.
I would say look into it because there's literally something for everybody. Every teacher of every subject level, of every grade, there's something. And on the Iditarodedu, everything's free. So like imagine how many times we're going on Teacher Pay Teacher looking for something to cover for a day or just something quick. Everything's free there.
Right. We
So
like free.
yeah, we
Yeah.
like free.
I was just going to say that I think that we learned wonderful things at
Okay.
the conference. It was a 5-day conference, and even outside of the conference, going just one day, we had one day to go play, and even then, you're looking at it through a teacher lens, and you're going, oh, now I can talk to the kids about glaciers, or now I can talk to them about the boar tide. And you learn all these things that are exciting to see, but then you put them through your teacher's lens, and just having that experience is a wonderful thing to bring back to the classroom. Just like when we went to the Illinois Reading Council and presented about the Iditarod years back, and that just rejuvenated as well. Even just going to a local, sort of local, more local than Alaska conference,
Yeah.
it just rejuvenates everything that you do.
And I think being there too, like you talked about relevancy earlier, like you go to Alaska, and last year and the year before, like it was a whole different ballgame with COVID up there. Even on our national news, you were seeing stories of how they were getting the vaccine to these rural communities by dog sled. They were getting the vaccine there by dog sled because it was the middle of winter. We had to COVID test every single day last year at the conference because they could have zero risk going out into these rural communities where they don't have adequate health care. But then you also see climate change playing a huge role in the race. Every single year there's something crazy going on. You know, water that's supposed to be frozen is not, or there's crazy snowstorms taking place. And, you know, they even say, like, if you don't believe in this, like, come see it here firsthand.
Okay.
You know, you can see exactly what's happening. So just getting to see all of that more in person, I mean, brought back a wealth of ideas for places we can take this in the classroom.
Gotcha. And I'm glad you touched on the whole water that should appear to be frozen or should be frozen, it's not, and kind of like the dangers a little bit, because that comes into my mind of a barrier of like, nope, I'm not going to do it because of this or that or whatever. But the way that it's your experience and how it sounds is, I can have fun doing this. Anyone can have fun doing this, right? So I'm definitely going to look into it. Not saying I'm going to go yet, but I got to, you know.
You
so,
will soon, because guess what? She's got a surprise for you.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Made me forget my last question there. What's the surprise?
It was announced publicly today that I am a top 3 finalist to be the teacher on the trail for 2024 for the Iditarod.
Well,
so
congratulations.
thank you.
This is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Alaska
You're
in
going
about
back.
6 weeks. Yep.
Okay.
So
Are you-
crossing
are
my fingers, I'll go back
recruiting
again.
Others to go with you?
You want to go? You can come. If I end up in the role I'm hoping I end up in, I'm hoping these two come back with me to the starting line of that race. So
Okay.
you're welcome to come with us.
Well, first of all, thank you. Okay, so now I got to really brush up on this
Yeah.
and try to
Yeah.
think about this. But congratulations.
Thank
and,
you.
And yeah, we might. My son's in the back there. We might need to visit Alaska.
Yeah.
But I got to talk to the wife though.
2024.
2024. So I got a little bit of time.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but thank you all for being here. One of the last things, and I ask this with every guest, is to take a shot, you know, in the
Oh, good.
ESPN bucket.
Okay.
I know we've been talking about sledding and things like that and races, but this is basketball.
Right.
And I love basketball.
Okay.
So let's see if you all 3 of you can make this.
Slam dunk
Terrell,
the
I
win.
don't think that I am really good at basketball.
That was a good try.
It was a good try.
Does this move? Yes.
Oh yeah, it
I don't want to
moves,
like
it
break
moves.
anything. Come
Let's
back
check.
to
You're
break
good.
things. Oh gosh.
Almost. Okay. All
Not
right.
quite.
You went right in there though.
Pressure's on. Whew. Oh, I gotta redo
another
on that
try.
one.
Redo.
You gotta try it
fingers.
again. There you go.
Aw.
That's good. And that's okay.
Has
But-
anyone made it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some that has made it in the first try. There's some that, you know, they're so competitive they just, you know, I got to do this. Others who kind of did like that, but that's okay though, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, if you can try Alaska and go in there, you can.
Yeah.
We
do
can
this.
try the basket.
And so final question. Any one of you can answer this. Who's your favorite person in the district?
I knew he was
Oh.
going to ask this.
Got
Favorite
to. Everybody's
person in the
watching. I
district.
mean,
Terrell, you're a pot stirrer.
I've been known to do that a little bit.
Well, in the district, obviously, I traveled with Shannon, so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Wow. Okay. Because you're not in the district anymore. I mean, so that
I'm
was-
not.
that was-
Did
that
I
was
get a
good.
like
That
freebie
was-
on it? I don't have to answer.
Oh no, you still got to
Oh
answer
man.
Yeah.
Because we may try to steal you back.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You have to answer for. Oh, you said Shannon. You answer next.
There actually was a conversation about this in my my lunchroom.
It was coming. Yep.
They all knew you were going to ask us this
Of course.
question, so
Really?
I made them
You could've
promise
told
that I would
me.
give a shout out to the third lunch at Loves Park Elementary,
I
which by the way Julie's a part of.
Okay. All right. So the whole third lunch.
The whole third lunch
Is
You're
are
my
your
peeps.
favorite people?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So now it's on you.
Oh man, I feel like I don't even know how to answer that. I'm gonna go just with Loves Park staff are my favorite people because I miss a lot of them so much.
Good answer. Good
Yeah,
answer.
I feel like partially the first place you maybe spend 9 years of your career feels a little bit like home. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
You can come back home anytime.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. Once a Husky, always a Husky. That's how I say it.
Thanks.
So again, thank you all
Thank you.
for being a part of this. Obviously, thank you for reaching out and
Yeah.
wanting to do this and introducing me to something that I had no idea. I feel embarrassed, almost like that TCU
No.
Georgia score last night. But if you watch football, but this is just awesome. Just to know though that as our staff, teachers are doing some great things, right? And being able to participate in things not just in the area, but to go to like Alaska and things
Yeah.
like that, and to be able to, for me to even say that, I'm proud of that. And so if we can continue to create those moments and help you, do that, I'll certainly try to do that, in my role. And so, again, appreciate you. So again, welcome, everybody to another edition to Talk 122 with your superintendent, Dr. Terrell Yarbrough. Hopefully, you learned a lot with this particular episode. I know I did, and congratulations is in order, and we may end up taking a trip to Alaska. We shall see. So, until the next time, I am Harlem, you are Harlem, we are Harlem. Take care, everybody.